mo temela. Oidel as. La correcte viera. Sa masagin nga tiyan nga ma, viera mangkalo alam la. Gadi elelo hindi nga mo girwelaw. Ay sendeng.
Abi nga nagmaw.
Uy nagmaw. Ari tirakal mo kasi tiram ti adangat pangat calcium.
Abi nga karutoy.
Nga ababa lift Toribiong lagi la. Abok mamla. Francis Toribiong, welcome Baba.
Thank you.
Just thanks for joining the conversation. So today is Tuesday. Agini makat koseng Alex Sir Mama. Amogas Sir Mama Senator Tapsugino. Agi amo el alwigin mamral mo. Gimra tia lal kom siya joral tia di imali omra kasi gini masya buto rally mong amo otoblo so gina next week.
El alwig.
So
Edili kali daw ay sila si kung daw siya mostra okay kaligid. Amo doon mo to kamligid. Ala. Len ang galo ole kali way sige den galo ole kali way sending maningat to Belaw hindi magtatal dibus mandire kal tamo nga mamlukot to kamligid. Mong sabi na maningat sa alas sila understand. Kita din na school yung subat to kamligid at ang giran Belaw. Makabilong doon lukat to kamligid na electric company ma.
It's here in my head. It just every time I try to say it, I'm like I give up and say English.
No, in fact, Baba, that's one of the things I want to bring up today. So we were just at Palau High School today.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And I noticed that every child over there is speaking English. Even some of the tigala yang nakakamit, history nga siya, hindi ako belang kung kabay nung titunong ito naman. Ano ba Pasko na English.
Yeah, and we have to be honest. It's our fault. It's nobody else's fault. And it's a good thing. It's a plus. If you learn English from
Alam nga rin but, you know, let's talk about language for a while. Len, taligibol what all those people are most other below. Especially with the who are learning English, marunong manok to. Taligibol at tiga Constitution Belaw in Palawan el sumong as sel final say leng dia ka rules na tokor Belaw unless siya kada mula rules ri del mo tukul wa French el ngania French language ang ngania ang amiti tira decide was saying rules of the language. When I say this, it means this.
And they come up and they actually talk about how to make this new word into French or.
Akmal why siya lang nga implication ng buto ka ang kamsa ng hindi ka bagay mo mahalat tali. Sel kasi kamo na nga be atara tele root mo president. Agas to sila Belaw tamlom ring define kwasen consecutive consecutive terms.
Di naman mo oroy dum hindi mo
bla. Say set to all spelling. Lagi na technically hindi ka term limit of president tamlo Belaw. Kaya
nakabuko ka mo ko rin.
Timlo ko rin.
Malto ko.
Hindi example words sa kanya akol bulule. Masugod mga define nigil. Letial pun ma ano korte lang tamo decide. Ding ati na mo ma korte. Edil politics ang gina ulit decide ang meaning ni. You know, they're going to go say, oh, yeah, because we want this.
Does it say anything?
It has nothing to, by the way, it has nothing to do with upcoming.
But is it also in Palauan? Does that have any saying?
No,
is it clearer in that way, or it's still just like
in English? You still have to define it.
Yeah, of course.
But there are rules in English that you can actually go to court and say, well,
but then they need to decide like, okay, this is what it really does mean. So that's why we have to go to court.
Because they go to court and they have a Palauan word, and then you have do we just refer to the Palauan English dictionary? Is that the final say? What say? Oh, tingin namin ko chat to.
Di aksel ko ra al atel mo dong. Di akam maliwang gel no raport.
Context.
Gel mo hanto.
Exactly.
Mo rin bilos siya. Arme mo to asing alim mo kula mo sa balo ni altam ka lagi balsaw mo kamura teng wasen dia kala apmul wasen dia kamo mo sa arme suelo paswelo. Kam nervor mo.
Sige.
Exactly.
Well, we have to clarify galit to kana ya leng now hindi yor pasyak nilo did you convince enough na church waseng Tor velang tegi up lul. Whereas sa ngara bel ngani ako yak advocate lusa language yid anything. If anything, swak sele council language sele ngani ko langi sele al adal rutel language yid tele to create rules and right focus I can this is what le pero I don't know about you dinga Shakespeare tor velau Tilgal besa ngal kami kasi dia mistake spelling. Was oleh utek musubul ya school. Maka musubul mo era.
Why say?
Makutat why say?
Jadi mora. Mo skogi.
Are they combined or separated? Because some people say they have to put them together. Other people said no, you got to keep them separated.
You got to keep them separated because that's the right way to write.
Yeah. So what's the rule exactly?
Yeah.
So aku gak was magana expect talaga bola. Eleng aul mato sub English al school ngania rules ni.
Yeah.
Ngania English 1, English 2, English 3. Lega steps.
And I'm pretty sure if you go all the way back, and there was no writings in Palau.
Yeah.
No, of course.
So there's no
Well, someone asked me that. Yeah. Why do we have it Latin letters? I'm like, well, because the Spanish wrote it. That's why they're in that.
Exactly.
And they're like, oh, that makes sense. So we don't have writing.
Yeah, we don't have writing.
And that's actually kind of how I had a hard time is because I need to see writing to put it in my head, and that's because I'm dyslexic. Yeah. So seeing, like even English was very hard for me, but I had words in my head that I can always refer. In Palau, and I'm listening, I could hear, but there's no words in my head that I can refer back to and to
Because
to
I
answer.
believe that Palauan cannot be translated. It needs to be interpreted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mengira ngania musuburil wa English. Semua rules ni again even the English language these were written languages, they eventually became written languages. We had Blagiel Moria Mrula Runsuri. Masagil and people gotta work. I mean,
because the way our language was only transferred during dinner time. It was verbal.
But here's the thing, I know so sila ngala college when I was in college. And we Kimisuba language. My major is actually
Oidel.
Kimisuba language say one of the biggest changes in our language is when it starts being written down.
That's when it changes.
It changes. Especially from the perspective of South Pacific cultures. Unfortunately, sel start lo mulusri sel lo lusri atol bela brani vera right tigere mokol other men no story yele blugula to ayel tolo live angari ya ulmo I say and I'm sure yel motak siya do mata tigel mo to I say yel
why ariomel ada mga ariomel ni
why say
kariger speaking mga kariger
hindi I get only happens in an oral culture.
Okay.
Le selbodo luz, en ania toda la cámara de los peñas profesionales kasi arbitrary, de un motor velang luego kasi dia kapulgul, togal ngani dia kapulgul, gidarul dia kapulgul. Seldo luz, legale leng written language ti the Latin logori, written language aleres ma phonetical. Di siya dogotel mamlu sa tigil ala ichit mayan arwa hieroglyphics cuneiform ayemle siya sing pictographs agotel mamlu sa amle siya sing maglu siya amla na
daw maglu sa bukungo
maglu sa ego arts na yan di ang aygal togol dolu sa ABC kati kablukul I got they're just markings on the page. Dia kasi amin masang atoy. Ay sumaklusi. Kaya kasi medimsa ito kasi kaya nga bulugul. What does this mean? Ginadal assign the letters assign sounds sound assign meaning is language ngari. So say army say sumo sta tablusa ngari mo
di waya gumi makarakar. Kaya di gumi mat kaya di kadakar di mga loda sa emlot to pinabatsin ko.
Di it mangsagi na di gumdas mla mo ginadal. Sugum suadlo sperni ralla matugora hammers mayaro belau atugor belau then it must become a truly written language. Ginadal rumula runsungi Maria Lugul stigil mo even though ang lamo o change sa bebila lugul atoy di ginel almulu sa ginel mo original
Hindi ka alam sel sawan.
oh di kasi mo kasi di ka tilaan mo lugul nga mamal other gina ko mong di ka mo uniform yung ngari ato ko lam dali ang milyo kasi di ka tilaan mo lugul
Ade ka lama kayo.
Ade ka lama kayo.
Ade ka lama kayo.
Malari
Mauriw tamauti
Yang metil amlo mo dali imra. Ya kasi mucha de almedo. Nakay wayan. Pala ade ka la. Apolo mo dala. O mura. You know, ginel mo niya. Al sugum mong suadro spell. Ya la que ya al makita do spell ato siya. Ato ka brigel for lengalia rules sa yaki.
Interesting.
But also, like when I was working at Biota, the Rubox and Mas came, the old center came, and so I kept asking them, I was like, how are these fish called? And they're just like, Ngig. I'm like, why don't we have names for this? Because we don't eat them. And I'm like,
exactly.
but like then it really dawned on me. It's like when you just say Napoleon Ras, what do you guys think?
Napoleon Ras?
Yeah.
Mom.
But when I say mom, you hear someone's like, oh man, that sounds good.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're just like,
okay.
yeah, because you have because Napoleon Ras could be the male or the female, but we have different words for different like age, different types of fish, so we know exactly that taste.
Mamla.
Where you got it? Yeah. So where to get it? How that? Because with oral, you don't just explain it. You make a story. You make them feel that word so they understand.
Oh.
So we're just like oh Palau.
Yeah.
Palau. It has that heart feeling, and it's just this is just a word, but when you have that extra.
But see, that's why I actually I separate that to all commerce and government and more English. And I want to keep us, I want to keep it as an oral language. Because it's beautiful. Palawan as an oral language is beautiful. Akong dasyo adrenalin mo o lose language. Kaya lose say. Mang saya ulmang suangan adulutin mo kasi ato ko nga kabarang siya constitution. Not because disrespect na ka atol melang. Nagpay mura atol melang mga tingal. Leselbol lang kaya sistema niya direct force niya mo starter mula bulgulay ganito. When the court says kasi abulgul tingal to ka tiagit hindi mo recall bulgul. Di ya sa chance niya abo marula. Ayan dia tida a legal definition of to melang na defined by the court tiagit. So sa kita ko tingal ang salmo. I mean, jangan makita ang bilingual ang blue. Kalau conduct business itu lah, apa nanti kata itu lah, belang orally.
Manya mo kan mauwi na to.
Kan mauwi. And ako na siya ngil. Nga hotel, adi wa isa hotel Suaxel. Masuk lang sa kaya botol belang. Hindi. Pigik kasi algo plato mo mo sa level niya.
Kaya kita belum sarung.
Hindi kakti, lol, kat mo to kasi kaya wala ka sabi. Hindi, tiyo ba sa wasa tira sa level high school ito din mo. Lang bay gira dalam naso sen ngrawul mit gira del mal ka so positive di blog to be laul muraya. Lang Amerika na dia kabol.
Jakal albebira timing jakal sabael الموميل والرنجلية على بلو بينو لين كده ملا أمي سابلو سل مونغ أدو أمدو I love you يوم كنا دي I love you Semdul wase kawi o motrar mo ge tusis nge kawi tiasil. Kodi mi etelar gilto.
Ya dia kalau misalnya litak ka.
Maalita.
Litak lah, yang litak ka mal ko tulga. Maran.
Klobo la atol bela dik mal understand om mo ko ring. Leng akum da sing mal betokol to ya ulan dia lobby. Ra karkaril el mal mongin. Abigo sing mal sab el one lawyer. Interpret ringi in this way.
Exactly.
And mo imong interpret ringi in that way. So when all is said and done, the lawyers were the winners, no matter what. And then,
actually brings up another point there sa kami. Tora suka mayan. Yung ginel ko kaniya ko na local tribunal. Igele, ela ko kanini po ay na Hawaii. Sa tora Hawaiian, I guess the Office of Hawaiian Affairs sa tribunal. Ito mong masang suka tiling doesn't belong in the court.
Exactly.
They have that in Yap too.
Yeah, in Yap, local tribunal.
Yeah.
Because my time there, when I worked at the court, all those cases that came, talk about traditional leaders or the chiefs. Let's use for example, Raboraido. Okay, let's say Ngawakal says, "Oh, Yoel is Raboraido," and I come out and I say, "No, Alsen is Raboraido."
Yeah, and that's
okay. So we go to court.
No,
because I mean that's what they're doing right now.
But that's the problem. Yeah. Is that needs to go to the village.
Yes, but
village.
What they're doing now is they go to the court. You spend $75,000 on your lawyer. I spend $75,000 on my lawyers.
And the lawyers get rich.
Guess what happened? The court will say, "Okay, I'll send this Raboraido." What happens when we leave? You will never stop calling your Raboraido. I will never stop calling my Raboraido. Nobody wins.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the lawyers walked away with all that money and they say, let's appeal. That's how I look at things. So that's very important, I think. And that's the first time I've actually heard that. But then when it comes to that, it does make sense. It means because it has rules.
Malsuma kadat lansuma kortina kana dia al place na do abo dala batokar bel bombi ina gor gira do gol mor amdiri atay padula ay amnate idam larga atretele la do o sa ya to kara mo ya gira we should go back to those
because I believe Baba there it had happened once. I'm pretty sure that once it went. Yeah, Judge Miller at the time. I think it was Judge Miller, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's the best. That should be.
But the thing is, when the Mas are talking and the Rubox, they do their candidate, and the Rubox will say no. That if there's that internal struggle, and they just go to the courts, then that struggle is still there.
Yep.
They have to work it out.
And again,
as a community. But when them just going to the courts and just talking about that, it kind of puts a rift on that.
I get a civil case about it. When somebody sues somebody. I get it on messenger quasi. At the ultimo, I say the relationship between me to spare a horted more. I get the Lola Bagal, I got to go. Yeah, you know how blind. I will more a hortel, sell decide a hortel. How do you fix that relationship afterwards?
Yeah, like if you and me get in a dispute, our aunts and our uncles are the ones that help us deal with our problems. But if the court decides that I don't like it, man, and then, hi Viera, in the back, I'm like...
And then guess what happens? What starts now will continue on to our children, our children's children, your family, because that's what happens now. And then again, we are not the scientists on this subject, but this is our vision, this is our viewpoint. The way we look at things, and say, "Well, why say maklola? Kita mo mata. Mo ola mera." Akala nga away kita ko ta masada, iga masel dung kita di mo.
Oo nga, dabara, bulu era kada. Gila di mo tira ro bang era magdamo. Okli ba ro bang? Jangan mo. Ako si ang mga mga. Ara ka ba ka klisiam. Magabi ay mondalgin. Iya kada, iya kana. Agit tulor ngiram. Ako de people tinakan mo ba may kilom das kasi tinigel ngamel lol tinaka gamam. We also feel it tiale rift mungela, we feel that stuff, eh? So it's not just Turuwaks going at it. There's whole families underneath.
Oh yeah,
remember
the
funerals where there was one person but two funerals, and that was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I mean, that's.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. And I think that's the biggest takeaway, I think, from our conversation. I think, and I think if we start doing it, tribunal, kadam southern gila belu, ano ba kada samel lingkuk, ginal di belaw. To solve this problem, silang hindi ka samel court. I don't think that's the answer.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
But let's change subject.
Yeah.
We can go back to this, but for now, I want to ask Papa something.
Yes.
Why did you leave?
Well,
because here's how I look at it. Even our family from Ortmao were asking, Baba, wala di mirala, kulala, lagi mo lang singing exercise, and then he goes to work, and we always see him, and then suddenly he's gone. The only reason they found out you were gone, because of Lord Serio, and then they asked, and I said, oh, he's off island, so.
Well, it also comes back to language. Like having a hard time really speaking Palauan, and I couldn't get a nice job. Well, not even a nice job, but I felt like the opportunities weren't there. I also felt like if I couldn't really speak, then I shouldn't. It's hard to really work, especially in the government job. But I was a very frugal person. I had a good job at Biota. I was getting paid more than minimum wage, but even then, I felt it was hard to pay gas. Even though I was in Martimao, I only paid for gas, but I was always thinking, it's like, okay, I need to save this for gas. I need to save this for electricity, put this for food. And it was getting hard for me to really, enjoy Palau and be with everybody, because I didn't feel like I can contribute to the thing. And
because our responsibilities.
The responsibilities. Because that's the hard part too, is when customs come and I want to give money, but I can't give that much money because I don't really have that much money, and I hate hearing people having to take a $300 loan, and I'm like, don't. I mean, I understand the pressure, but it's better for your. Yeah.
And then when you give little, they go,
exactly.
The first thing they say is, Baba,
exactly. And again, that was. Yeah, and I'm like, I have a nice house. I'm in the land. I don't have to pay rent, and I still feel like I'm struggling. I'm like, how are these other families? Like, I don't have a kid. I don't have kids or anything, but they have two families working, maybe three, and they're still struggling. I'm like, man, I have it better. I felt, but I still felt like I wasn't making it anywhere. And then there was just an opportunity to go to the States. I was already kind of planning on joining the Air Force, but then there was an opportunity to go to the States early, and so I took it, and so that's why I left early. I'm in Alaska.
Alaska?
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me how life is in Alaska and the difference.
I heard they pay you there.
Not until at least a year and a half or 2 years.
How much do they pay you after a year and a half?
Maybe $2,000 a year.
A year.
It's not as much as it used to be.
But it's
something. But the thing is, Alaska, there's the seasonal jobs, so fishing during the summer time, and that pays can be $40K a year, especially if it's a good year for salmon and stuff. You can be a hunter, so you can take hunting trips, and like a week or 2 weeks is like $20,000 for just for one guide.
Really?
Yeah. It could be up to $40,000. That's a cheap one. So there's seasonal jobs, and then they have just regular jobs, just like over the counter or no, unskilled labor. So it's not bad. As I said, it's like Palau. I feel Anchorage is like Koror, and then the rest is like Konto. So everyone has their house, they have their little farm if they go hunting, they go fishing, and but it's harsher weather. That's my one downfall is the cold. It's too cold. That's why I'm really happy to be back because I'm like absorbing the sun. Because I mean, look at that. It's white and
But you said something in our previous episode. You used the word not minimum wage.
A living wage.
Living wage.
Yeah.
So how's living wage
compared
to what you're paying Marolto?
It's livable. I mean,
are you comfortable there more than you're comfortable in Palau, like in terms of money?
In terms of financially, yeah, I'm definitely comfortable.
Are you
there.
able to save a little bit of money?
I can save. I could pay my bills and then still save money. I could but right now, I'm just working at the movie theaters because it's an easy job. Yeah. I just stand there. You want popcorn? Do you want soda? Okay. And then they pay me a lot of money, and then I get to watch movies.
That's the one thing, eh?
You get to watch movies.
Yeah, but that's one thing. That same job, if you're in Palau, probably the kids in Palau say, "Oh, I'm not gonna work." Especially you could say that's like working at West or something at the store and the counter, basically, and it's people don't want that, and they want that office job in Palau.
Yeah.
Because, of course it doesn't pay as much, that's why. Maybe,
but if they did,
sure. It's nandirakal kotoklo. And not just of course.
But see, the thing is also gas. Right now it's high, but it's $4.35. When I came back the first week, I was just walking and I looked up. I'm like, oh, $7? Oh my gosh. Because that was my thing when I was driving from North Mount to Irai. I was just like, okay, I need to work at least 4.5 hours a day just to pay for the gas that day. All right. I'm only thinking I just need to work 2.5 hours. My gas is paid for the week. And then I could save this much. I have to pay for this rent. And then I have like $300, $400.
3 hours for 1 gallon.
Yeah, exactly.
For 1 gallon of gas.
Sel, mamakallan mo ospital. Kalak sel gas station
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you still see that?
Yeah, I saw that when I was walking.
$4.69.
It's still stuck there.
It's still staying there because the thing they closed down. I think they're going to renovate or whatever. But the sign when they closed is $4.69.
Yeah.
And I keep on looking at it every time I pass by O-ring. It's not that long ago, but it was $4.69. And I remember $4.69 we were complaining. Now it's $7 and something.
Plus 10%.
Plus 10%, yeah.
It's not. I'm surprised that I'm surprised it's not more people living.
Yeah.
It is a lot, but I'm surprised not even a lot more.
But I'm also blessed because I have my sister and my cousin Duet there. So I have at least family that can at least help me out when I'm getting used to the weather. And, at least have someone to talk to. I mean, I know some Palaus that leave and they get homesick. I understand that's why I'm kind of lucky on that one too. To have family.
Is there anything you see when you're in Alaska that you think we could do in Palau, like implement in Palau?
It's hard because Alaska's huge, so it has a lot of resources. I mean, they have that gas, oil, pipeline, so they have that, but they have just such a big wilderness that they have so much land that they could just go do a lot of hunting and fishing. The other thing is Alaska's so far up that it's a lot of the stuff we import too, because they don't have farmlands or cattle lands, so everything is imported. So it's also a little bit expensive compared to the mainland, because like Texas, it was like $3.15 for a gallon for gas, so it's cheaper in the mainland. But Alaska it's harsh, but there's a lot of opportunities like to do like seasonal jobs, construction. There's always construction in the summertime, but again, it's just that they have more resource in terms of variety of resources that they can focus. I mean, with tourism down. Like our resource is the ocean, but with no tourists, how can we not exploit that, but
here's the
work
thing.
that?
Okay, you're basically the tourism is you're born into the tourism.
Yes,
industry.
exactly. Yeah.
But here's the thing about it's always so your dad basically invented the type of tourism that everybody's following now,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not even doing that great if
No.
you're being honest. But why is it only that?
No,
It's
no.
only now with some of the programs of PBA and stuff. Now that there's all these land tours that we could do and stuff. Everybody seems to. This actually brings a really good point that I think. Andre Palau, ang kanya tendency din when somebody does one good idea, they all jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, look at all the different flavors of spam sushi.
Or like, like if somebody, rentering, I just rent my boat. Then you get like 30 more people just buy boats and they rent, and then we overload the market.
And then it's oversaturated.
When, everybody wants to do the dives and the
Snorkeling, kayaking.
Yeah, Randy was here selling us all innovation. Innovation of tourism.
I see.
We were just in the just today talking about ecotourism.
I mean,
has there? Now is a champion of.
Again, because I mean, it's almost cookie cutter since the '90s for what my dad had done. So there hasn't been really any innovation, right? Okay.
Initially it was innovation. He turned something into a tourist attraction. But that's not the only thing we have to offer in terms of tourism. I mean, I've been to Hawaii, man. They offer tons of different kind of tourism. Like one of the more popular ones, and I don't see a lot of people doing is only the certain few are doing, is taking fishing tours. Where they come and they take them out fishing. Like Swing is doing very successful with that. Swing and his son, they take them fishing and they're with them all the time. And
I think there was something that happened in late '90s, early 2000s that they kind of, what's the good word? It's not like they helped, but they kind of made it didn't seem like it was a good idea, and that's why they brought in the fisheries and stuff. And so the fishermen kind of got lost on that.
I think also a very big challenge for, let's say, you and me want to start something, are all the boundaries that we have to cross. It's not easy to start anything here in Palau. All the paperwork, all the different places you have to go, all the fees that you got. I mean, all these things, because let's just once Diblay, if I want to build my house, man, that itself to go apply, PV, these are just examples, but just
land moving permit or a horse thing.
Even having your own land, getting the signatures from all the maternal. I mean, this is just. They have to simplify all these things, at least one office or something. Most of it are investors in may sang mil toy malubeng gidel so start trap mo and make it easy for us, because sometimes I've heard other Palau might say it's harder for them than people from the outside, and I go, why? Because they have money.
Like one office will say, oh yeah, you just need this. The other office, no, you need this and this. And then they're like, okay, I have both of them. They're like, wait, where's this? And they're like, what? They never.
It's amazing. You know the Biora? Mm-hmm. I had that idea.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I wanted to do sell fish for pets and stuff, but then Stalin. When we were in Hawaii, we were thinking about we should, and we had found a person there, but then we found out all the hoops and stuff.
Yeah.
And yet, when a foreigner comes with a FIB license, and then they give him a license, okay, you can do this, and they help them do that. That should be, when we have these ideas, it should be easier for us to start these things. Because, and
just a simple example. From land authority, just the state land authority, my state zoning office is right next to each other. There's not even a wall that divides them, right? So I gather all the paperwork from one office, and it's like, let's say 5 pages. So I finish all 5 pages, and I turn it in, and they say, okay, now when it's done, we'll call you. So I leave, And then 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, and then they call me. Oh, it's all done. I'm like, all right, where do I bring? We have to come and pick it up and bring it to another office. Okay. So I drive, let's say I'm in North Mount. I drive all the way to another state to go pick it up. And I go, where does it go? Oh, it goes to him sitting right there. I mean, that is just beyond ridiculous. Why didn't you give it to him or her? Why do I have to drive all the way here? I got state government, national government, all these government agencies are supposed to be, to me, they're service providers, right? Save me the fuel and everything. It goes there. All I have to do is pick it up here and give it to him. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like, simplify that.
Well, another thing, I tried, help them out. Maybe they didn't get the right training, or they're not getting paid that much too. Some people are just like, I just got this done. I got other stacks I need to do. Everyone's yelling at me because this didn't happen, that didn't happen. So that could just be happening, or
I mean, you understand the but that's also under level.
Yeah.
Make streamline the process.
Yeah.
One of the things I try to do here at TMC is I try to make it as easy as possible for somebody to get. Because before I used to say, okay, when they come in, you have to ask them, do you want it delivered on a DVD or uploaded or
USB or
USB? Bring your USB.
Email, yeah.
Has to be what size. And then I went, you know what, I'm just going to provide all of these things.
Yeah.
So that when they come in, pay and get whatever.
Yeah.
But then it takes a little bit of cash. So that's why I increased the prices a little bit, just so that I can accommodate all that. I try to do that because I'm a business. So if I do that so they can choose me, because if they come here, that's the problem with government. If you don't, and so mong process state, you cannot go to Ivy State and then have them process the same paperwork when you live in Goro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The other thing I forgot too is also the land disputes.
Yeah.
So they have to be. I understand Core has to make sure that zone is perfect and there's no other hiccups. Because sometimes they get everything approved and then all of a sudden something got missed, but something came up, and so now it's more of a headache. So they also get pushed back on something like that. Because again, there's all history where the Japanese took all the land, so now and then the Core was given the land, and some people didn't get a chance to claim their land back, and so it's back and forth. It's a lot of history that it's gonna pile up, which pushes back and forward, back and forward.
So. I asked you why you left and the difference. Now, my last question to you about you moving away was, what is something that would happen here that would make you stay? What would bring you back home?
I would just say cheaper living. I don't mind not getting paid a lot, but if I could just live like a small house, and so I could just either fish or farm and have family without having to really like worry about if tourists are coming or gas go up. And that's also the problem is we have U.S. currency that goes up and down. We don't have any control over that. The gases go up and down because people are going to war. People don't want to things go up. People don't want to produce stuff. So even if it was just a little bit cheaper, or there's resources that we can make life a lot cheaper, or just collecting rainwater, so I don't have to worry about paying PUC.
Oil.
If we had our own natural resources, we could, that's fine. But if I could just live at a small house, no AC, and kind of just live like that, then I'd love to do that. Come back for that. But so when I was living in Arkham, I had the water tank. I have a small pump. Water comes in. I have water, no problem. I just have to pay electricity. $20.
Yeah.
Before 2021, $40. I'm like, damn, that is so expensive. Oh man, why is that? Come over here, man, $150. I'm like, oh, I'm good. Yeah. I'm really good. How is that? So I'm just like,
yeah, because right now I give it 3. Come the sell blind. You don't need an AC
Same
or
house.
anything.
Yeah. Same house.
Same house.
One door closes, another one opens. Hindi ka air condition. Nga rin hindi gimpo na rin once in a great elu. So I don't use that much electricity. Di tal gudong alil wasing on seld on daral. Yeah, water pump pa on. Ligid o run raul. But naka monthly $160, $170. That's a lot. 160, 170.
Well, that's a lot for our house that is more efficient.
Yeah. Oh.
How does other people's
Other
house?
people.
Yeah, efficient to buy. Yeah, mal.
So that's a good if only you could afford. If you made enough money to pay for necessities, hani ara lakalim, legal di simple, because we don't have to eat steak. We can eat fish as long as get other bela di mga bras, kasi magkakaroon del bras. But then if that was, then I'll be okay too. Mong ka dito, tigal ka tabulam na society may tanya di pumulwasing makalang, but it's the honest truth. Because if you made that much money and you still, then we can only imagine what the rest of the people that do not have that income, that depend on going fishing, that depend on magit, to pay all these bills. It's just hopefully most of it affordable. Because I think even if I could afford living paycheck to paycheck, I'll be okay. Paycheck to paycheck is fine.
Yeah, but the whole reason why I'm a paycheck to paycheck people ako, everybody, they need extra money for but in order for somebody to stay, a young person to want to stay, these people have a life. You have insurance. You know, there's a reason why in the States when you work, there's mandated breaks. You cannot just work to survive and that's it. You need to,
There are laws.
you have to take care of yourself. You have to take a vacation. You have to so when I say people have to make enough money, it's not just to live, but to actually live, to enjoy your life.
Because I remember when I worked, it was every Wednesday they give you like a week of vacation, but it's always a choice. Do you want to take that vacation, or you want to come back to work and just get a full paycheck? And I go, I'll take that paycheck. But at least you have a choice. And that is also part of your mental health. It's those little things.
You have to be paid enough that when they do offer that break, and then you take it. Yes, vacation. Because most of them tell the other, you give them that choice. They want that money. They need it. It's not want, it's a need.
Most of them. Actually, that option actually means something.
I see.
But even like, there's a lot of land, but farming's real, man. I can't. I love the heat, but a lot of people are like they're outside for a long period of time, and it gets hot. And I also, when just walking here in Koror for just a couple hours, I'm getting like a headache. And I was like, if farming could be, I don't know, like, because that's the thing is, if you could just make your own food, then you don't have to go to the store sometimes. But it's again, it's hard, expensive.
Yes, farming is really big in Palau, and all that. But here's what I don't get for farming. A lot of people have small farms and they have but the most productive farms in Palau are the Taiwanese farms, the giant Taiwanese farms. And that's an industry that we probably we could have started ourselves if we were,
I think we were just doing it to feed ourselves. We never thought about it as something.
Because if we can do it, not just to feed ourselves, but to also
export,
to become an exporter, even to sustain us, so we don't have to import.
Yeah, and then we have an option.
Yeah,
another option for.
That's when they talk about the Rubaks, you're talking about independence and stuff like that. I always think that one of the things that we can do is take over those things, those farm operations, these big operations that these big companies are coming to run for us. You know.
Well, yeah, and also just land, like we don't have like a huge swaths of land. Maybe in North Mao we do soon, but like some, and I mean, North Mao has all that old bauxite, so it's not always great. But I think the Taiwanese can help us start putting nutrients back.
That's good for the environment.
And the reason I asked you all those questions.
But also, one more thing. In Garmlangui, when you enter, there's that pineapple cannery factory.
Yes.
I mean, we used to be able to produce a lot, especially when the Japanese came. So the land can do it. It's just a lot of work and it's hard. But again, infrastructure too.
And then even everything else that you need to prepare for that farm is expensive now. Gas, everything.
Yeah.
I brought that up. I asked you all those questions because I had one of our viewers that contacted me, and she lives one of those workers where they were coming to recruit.
Okay.
So, yeah. And so she wrote me this long message, and I asked her if I can use it, and she goes, "Yeah, go ahead, but just don't say my name." And so her story goes, she used to live here with her mom and a sibling. There was only 3 of them and an uncle that wasn't working, and she was the breadwinner. She was the only one that worked. And she worked for like 3 years, and never received a raise. And then one day she did, and when she took the raise, she was so happy. But then she took her paycheck, and it was 23 cents raise.
I mean,
so she worked for another year, and another year she got another raise, 1 cent. And she came to the point where she had to make a decision, and then these recruiters came and she did the math, and she goes, "Well, I have to go and find it." As hurtful as it was to leave her mom and her sibling and her uncle being the main breadwinner, she left, and when she left, they had that bonus. So even that bonus she gave it to the parent, and then flew. And now she's been there for, I think, 2 years. So I asked her, "How is it now?" She goes, "I'm living in an apartment. I can afford what I want and need, not just need, what I want. I get a vacation, and then all of that, and still I can send money to my mom and my sibling, and I can do everything that are my responsibilities from out there and helping her family." And so I look at that and I go, I think that's one of the main reasons why young people are leaving, because I think we are born we have responsibilities no matter what. Not like other countries where you can be a kid until you're 18 and you go, "Okay, go find a job and leave." No, we're very family oriented. I think say lead among other different than anybody mo. Say kita ko mesel ng mga adu na kang kalangal ya. Mom kita nung ringin ding dire kalmo ngilaro. That she can actually help her parents, because that's the bottom line. No matter how old you are, how rich you are, but I think we all live with the same code. We want to be okay. We want to survive. So I'll survive, able to eat and provide for their family and loved ones. And I think that's our main. Actually, saying important because we're always talking about this, but it's kind of cool when we're sitting down with a prime example. What you did is actions speak louder than words. So what we talk about in messages, it's not the same when you actually sit here and say those things and be honest. I also thank you. I know you were not scheduled to be our guest.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
we were actually at Palau High School. Omro naman marami tamo guest tergin magasebe. Tergin terong am nagidel magister mama am lo masang man chance mo next. Agi mo film na next agi me ko bro murtiang mo. Mandi nga ulan ro toy. mong tiagi da kung da senti nga dire kal malungil ang walk our viewers sige dire kal mesang klutel mo de ko ka matingin da sa dil ko radi
But then now I suppose in 10 minutes. I wanna.
But listen one sec. Today, because I always want to do this, I drove all the way to Ole.
Yeah.
And then and I came down to Palau and just to enjoy Palau because I love Palau, and I just wanted to see how everything else is going, and that's why. And then I drove in, I came back here, and that's why I was just gonna rest and relax. And then you guys, hey, you want to join? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
I'm not sure. Directly, mga other belau, take some time around enjoy the blue belau. I think.
But again, wasn't what I enjoy the blue belau. Again, who the other belau.
I see.
I'm not enjoying belau. They actually still over along island on the weekends. It's non-Palauans. Maldives tang. I actually take the weekend off. We don't. And mal seldom. We're trying to make it.
But anyway, give them 8 minutes ako ba ko toy. Anyway, give them 8 minutes male. I just want to go around and just if any thoughts, anything that's in your mind, if you're gonna speak to the public and before we close. But before we close, I just want to say, como tangal tunin la aklugok, either klug or klug. Timutiman kami mogas naman Senator Tapsugino. Mula ko na TV, hindi kan baktaw. Mula mga tumok. So Senator, ali kayo mula announce mag-gina may. With that, kamukati, anything ka, somebody move on. So you're gonna go to back to Alaska. So maybe take this time, say goodbye or something, say some whatever.
I don't know, man. I don't really want to say goodbye because I want to come back. I always want to come back. I just saved up money, and because I love Palau, I always want to come and help out as best I can. That's also the other thing I kind of want to leave. I want to go find a skill that I could bring back.
Oh yes.
Those the other thing is like I have political science major.
Yeah, it's useless.
It's useless here. Everybody's better.
You gotta, the most Alaska is the fishing.
Yep. But again, it's seasonal. It's seasonal.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, Palau is the
No. I mean like.
I got my weight. We can do seasons.
No. I wouldn't say seasonal, but some seasons are good seasons. So it's a harvest thing. So some seasons we get good harvest. Some seasons we get a bad harvest. So that's a good thing to have. But remember, it comes and goes.
But the techniques and the way they approach fishing in Alaska and stuff could be insightful for like Buffy and those things are just starting in Palau. I mean, we're just not there yet. I mean, those are established, long-running. I like that idea of somebody in a crew. Maybe I watch too much channel, but they just go out and get their score for
3-4 months, and then they're off for 8 months.
I mean, of course, I don't know how successful right now like Buffy and I think Jackson has a fleet also. I don't know how successful they are, or if they have like plans to like what are their plans? For like when I watch the Australian Alaskan shows, it seems to question ko there's a market and like, everything is already well established, which I don't think is established.
Yung
established the market, sure ko win brand. Di ngabe lang kasi mo yun.
Yeah, because
anyway, sorry for
no, but again, it's also like we have to compete with Vietnam and Thailand and Philippines, and if we can find a good market for us.
We could have competed with tuna, but then they closed it.
Anyway, final thoughts, Javier?
Yeah, I have a family that's here. They arrived yesterday. And they're from San Diego, Mississippi, Vegas, and New York. They're all from Warar, but they left when they were young and they had families and they're all here. So I went and had coffee with them this morning. They make a lot of money. They look like they're well off. But the first thing my nephew told me was he was in a rent-a-car with my younger brother. They were driving and they went to get gas. He went inside, filled up the car, and went to pay, and the teller said $92. He stopped, looked at my brother, and goes, "You gotta be kidding me. What do you mean? What did we buy?" He's looking around, and he goes, "No, that's the gas."
Yeah.
I looked up at the gas, and it was $7, and he was just in awe. And he's like, "All right." So he paid for it, and he looked at me, he goes, "How do you all survive?" Because he asked how much people made and minimum wage and everything, and I told him, and he was just looking at me, he goes, "You all seem so happy on social media, and everything looks good," and I go, "Yep, that's exactly what it is."
But again, like Palau looks great.
Yeah.
Palau is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's just
It's,
just a little hard.
But you see, that's the magic of social media. Eh?
Yeah, but
We
again,
can look.
yeah.
We can look like this.
But the other thing, don't forget, in the States, they're all separated. I have some friends, but I'm glad I have my sister and my cousin.
Yeah.
But some people have a lot of money. I'm looking at them like, dude, you're rich. And they're like, but he's by himself.
Yeah.
So at least here,
Yeah.
I mean,
Family.
we have family
Thank you.
and relatives. And
Yeah, I think that's a good note to stop on. When you're here, you have family.
yep,
Yes.
yep.
Kung masal na tunin I like to stay over here. Mo takal tunin na Google. Sabi na naman sa restaurant mga kagidele Senator Tapsulino. Komal masaul
one thing.
Oh, one more thing. Kamo.
Happy belated birthday, mura lola ko siba.
Happy birthday, malala ko sila. Sila. Sila ang makuk next.
Okay.